Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And
What up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. And I don't know what's going on with my camera this morning. What is going on with this green screen? I swear to God, StreamYard beats on some different stuff. All this green screen bullshit technology. Hold on one second. First off, Pete, Cam Smith is not starting. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what's going on with this camera. I swear StreamYard just be doing whatever the hell it wants. But what up? How's everybody doing today? Obviously, you've seen the thumbnail. Devastating news for the Miami Dolphins defensive back group. You know, when it rains, it pours. That's the old saying. How you doing, Michael? Michael K, what's up? Pete's Take, what's up? Bonnie, good morning. Joe, what's up? Raphael, what's up? Joe, what's up? Frozen Fins fan, what's up? So, you know, I didn't think the Kader Kohu injury was as serious as I guess it is. I was watching the Mike McDaniel press conference this morning, and you know he was talking about Ashton Davis, and his injury's not as bad as they thought it was. It's probably still pretty bad. It was a non-contact, which you're always worried about them ACLs and Achilles injuries with the non-contact. He said it's not an injury that's going to keep him out for the season, but they don't know to the extent how long it's going to keep him out. But with Kader Kohu, I was surprised when he nonchalantly kind of said, you know, he's going on IR and he's done for the season. Like, wow. You know, I wasn't expecting that. And I think Kader Kohu was, I mean, he was either corner 1 or corner 2 on this team. I don't think he was going to play the nickel this year. I think the Dolphins were going to move him to the boundary. Mike Hilton was going to be the nickel. I think Mike Hilton's better at the nickel than Kader was. Mike Hilton wasn't obviously an option for the edge. He's never really played the boundary corner position. So what do the Miami Dolphins do from here? They obviously need to make a move. Miami needs to trade for someone. Nobody on the free agent that's a free agent is going to possibly be able to. I don't like Rasul Douglas. I'm not a fan of Asante Samuel. I think the Miami Dolphins need to. We got some extra picks, and I know people. Hey, we got to keep those picks in case we need a quarterback. No, we need to go and make a run now. Why waste our last year possibly with Tyreek? Why waste maybe our last year with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb? I think this team has the ability to win now if you stop playing games with the roster. And what I mean by that is that, you know, it seems like there's been years where we went all in, but have we truly went all in? Morning, Blake. Morning. Have we truly went all in? Like, we've went on the verge of going all in, and some may say that we've gone all in, but I don't think we've ever been all the way in, all the way invested in one season. There's always been that hole that we refuse to fill, and we just go for it. Never have we done what the Rams did and just, you know, oh, well, we're short at corner. They went out and got Jalen Ramsey. They traded their whole draft, future drafts, to go out and put the best possible team on the field for that year. And I think most Dolphin fans are in agreement with me. I mean, a lot might not agree. But at this point in time, with so long between Super Bowl victories, like we haven't had a Super Bowl victory since the 70s. We haven't had a playoff win in 25 years. I think at this point, the fans would be okay with one Super Bowl. Screw the next. If one Super Bowl means we got to lose for the next 5 years, I'm cool with it as long as we get that one. I mean, K-Salt, nice to see you in here. I've never seen you in here. Glad to see you in the show. I like the kid from Kansas City, Watson. I don't think they're gonna re-sign him. Kansas City has a habit of letting corners go when they hit the open market, and he's a free agent next year. Jalen Watson, do I think he's a number one? Not necessarily, but I think he can be a very good number 2 corner. And to be honest, we don't need a superstar. I'm not saying go get a guy with the name like Jalen Ramsey. I don't think we need a superstar. We need capable, competent cornerbacks that can cover their guys and allow our defensive front to get after the quarterback. You know what I mean? We don't need superstars. We don't need all pros with this pass rush. I think this pass rush is going to be dominant. And I don't think we need that. I don't think we need all pro corners. We don't need Sam Madison and Pat Surtain back there. We just need guys that can stick with their guys long enough for the pass rush to get home. And I think we'll have a successful season. We need to shore up this offensive line. And I'm tired of going halfway all in. Like, let's go all the way all in. We got the playmakers. We got playmakers on both sides of the ball. We got pass rushers. We got an all-pro safety. We got great wide receivers. We got a running back that can take it to the house at any moment. We got a accurate quarterback who can put the ball where it needs to be when it needs to be there. Bradley Chubb is all-in guy. I wasn't a huge fan of the Bradley Chubb trade, to be honest. And people can disagree with me on that, and that's cool. You know what I mean? I don't know if people caught the Miss Vince show last night, but lots of times this Dolphins fan base is so toxic. You know, I don't criticize anybody for their opinions on the team. You know what I mean? And I just feel like sometimes, you know, if you don't have the same thought process as somebody else, you're not a real fan. You're not, you know, I mean, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. And I don't think that's the case. You know, none of us know what the overall outcome is going to be. And shout out to Miss Finns in the channel. Go check out her channel. Make sure you check out our show on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern time. DMZ, Dolphins Media Zone, for all your Dolphins information, even the hot steamy stuff like Christian Wilkins kissing boys in the bathroom. Oh man, did anybody else see that Max Crosby said, you know, we put up with a lot, but when he set up a kissing booth in the shower, what the hell is going on over there in Vegas? And we're not always going to agree. And some of us are going to be right. And some of us are going to be wrong. You know what I mean? And chances are I'm going to be right about some stuff. You're going to be right about some stuff. And we all can't tell the future. You know, I could say, go sign this person. And, you know, they last 2 years. They last 2 games. You know what I mean? What is an informed fan? I mean, yeah, you know. Perfectly put, Glenn. What is an informed fan? Dolphins fans are infected with the curse of making everything an extreme. Extremes are outliners and almost always are not indicative of truth. I agree, Frozen Fins fan. I agree. I agree. You know, in what I'm curious to see, because, you know, I don't ever remember a player being so polarizing as Tua Tagovailoa. Are we going to do this from now on with our quarterback? Just be completely split? Completely split? Dolphins going to give up 300 yards passing plus pretty much every game, most likely. Yeah, you know, I was being optimistic because Cater was looking good the first couple days of camp. Sticking with Tyreek, doing a great job. We brought in Jones, who I like a lot, who's a ball hawk. Guy's a ball hawk. You got Storm Duck, who could hopefully improve on last year. You know what I mean? But now with Cater going down, the in my opinion, the clear cut number one probably on this team. If you had to pick a number one, I'd probably say it was Cater, right? And now that he's down for the season, that's huge for this team. And it can't go ignored. It cannot go ignored. Cam Smith is not the answer. He's not going to be the answer. He's never going to be the answer, except to maybe a trivia question 10 years from now. Who's the second round pick bust that never panned out for the Miami Dolphins from the University of South Carolina? You know what I mean? That's the only time Cam Smith is going to be the answer. Activate Ethan Bonner and Storm Duck. Storm Duck, I'm cool with. Ethan Bonner, like, he has great training camps and then shows us nothing during the season. You know what I mean? I'm tired of players like that. I'm tired of these players that ball out in training camp and then give us absolutely nothing. This defense had no pass rush last year and still was in top 10 defense. Give Anthony Weaver respect that he can work this defense. Yeah, but we had corners last year, Glenn. We had corners. We were able to cover people still. Bonner needs to get more snaps. That's all. I mean, Miss Finn's, at what point? I mean, we were starting Eli Apple. You know what I mean? At one point, if Ethan Bonner was good enough or had talent, why is he not beating out Eli Apple? Yeah, we talked about it last night. I touched on it last night, Edward, on the DMZ, Dolphins Media Zone, me, Miss Finns, our new show. Patrick Paul, he's been very promising. Stonewalling defenders like Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, great footwork, great mechanics. Listen, this guy he has the ability to be a top 10, a top 15 left tackle in the game this year. And in the future, jump into that top 10. And I'm very pleased with him. Very pleased. I'm super excited from him. Went from Ramsey and X to this. We did. And I'm not even a huge Ramsey fan, bro. Like, I'm not. I'm actually like, Jalen Ramsey is severely overrated for me, but he's still so much considerably better than anything else we have on this team. That's why, when he was still on the team and it was known that he was probably more than likely going to be traded, I was still fighting to possibly keep him here because I just don't believe we were better without him than we are with him. Now, since we got Fitzpatrick for him, it just sucks that we have such a need at corner, but I think Fitzpatrick helps this defense. Fitzpatrick is going to be more of a leader. Fitzpatrick's going to be more of a teacher. So I like the fact that we were able to get Minka for Jalen Ramsey. That's a win for us. That's a win. It just sucks that we're so weak at the cornerback position. So weak. So very weak. But players are performing well, in training camp. Tua Tagovailoa has yet to throw an interception 6 days in. Go around the league and find very many quarterbacks that haven't thrown a pick so far in training camp. I bet you there's not too many. Chris Rowan says this knee injury ending Kohu's season is sketchy like a MFer. First time in my 53 years watching the NFL to hear this kind of injury update. Something is scripted sounding. Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't think that. What is the injury? What is it? Because I just didn't think that it was as serious as. I didn't think it was serious. I thought he was going to be day to day. I thought he was going to be day to day. Partially torn ACL. That's the injury. Dang. Well, Miller, they said Mike McDaniel's press conference said it was not what they feared typically a non-contact injury to be. So he said it wasn't a torn ACL or any, or an Achilles. Usually those are the non-contact that you got to worry about. And his injury was non-contact. So they said they escaped that. Joe says Josh Allen gets a partially torn rectum when he comes to Miami. He gets something, but it's not when he comes to Miami, he usually destroys us. And so I do not sit there and do nothing, though. And again, I am not for bringing Asante Samuel in. Rasul Douglas is not the answer. I don't know if Rasul Douglas is any better than Jones or Storm Duck. Cater was probably our number one guy. We need to go get a guy at least as good as Cater Kohu. Now, I don't think Cater Kohu is a all-world corner, especially on the boundary, but he's decent. He's a decent player. He's a decent player. He had a decent rookie year on the boundary, and he was going against X, so he wasn't going against teams' number one players. You know what I mean? He was going against teams twos. So, I mean, obviously this year, I don't think they'd have Cater follow anybody. Would he play the left side, the right side? Who knows? Who knows what this defense is really going to look? What this defense is really going to look like? I got a game says Greer overpay. You know that's coming. Yeah, but we haven't seen it this season. We haven't seen it this year so far. Typically, that is Chris Greer, right? Typically, it is. This year has been different. I think you need to let Weaver coach and believe he will have in top 15 defense. That's not good enough for me, Glenn. I'm trying to win playoff games. Top 15 defense isn't good enough. You have an opportunity to have an explosive offense again. Let's go out there and win something. To be honest, Nickelback was the one spot we could take a big injury in that the defense backfield after aiding. I don't think so, though, Joe, because I don't think Cater was going to be a Nickelback. I think Cater was going to be a boundary corner for us. I think they brought in Mike Hilton to not to be depth. Mike Hilton wasn't brought in for depth. Mike Hilton was brought in to be the starting Nickelback. And Cater was going to play on the outside. That's why Cater's covering Tyreek in practice. We already did Hilton. Hilton is actually better as a slot corner. Yes, Hilton is, but Cater was not going to play nickel. You guys act like we brought Hilton in as depth. No, Hilton was brought in to start at nickel. Cater, the plan for Cater was always to go outside. I think Mike Hilton's better than Cater at nickel. Cater's not I don't think Cater is near the tackler that Mike Hilton is. Joe, what do you disagree with, that Mike Hilton was going to be the starter at nickel? Look at Mike Hilton's game tape and look at Cater Kohou's. Tell me who's more impressive. No way. Cater was not playing. Cater was covered. Why was Cater on Tyreek Hill every play? In training camp, why was every play that was shown or talked about, Cater Kohou was covering Tyreek Hill? I'm telling you, the plan was for Cater to play outside. It's not the first time that they threw Cater outside. They threw him outside in his rookie year. They threw him outside his second year. Quinn Ewers is good enough to start over Manning. Does that mean he's really good and starting over Tua should be easy? Do you think a young Manning is better than Tua Tagovailoa? If Storm goes down, then what? If Storm goes down, then what? I mean, I think Storm was going to probably be the other starter. I think it was going to be Cater and Storm as your boundary corners with Jones as the backup. I don't think Manning is better than Tua at this moment. You know what I mean? Manning is super young. Now, later on in his career, will he be better than Tua? I mean, there's a good chance of that. But right now, no. Quinn Ewers, I'm not comparing it, Joe. That's Lewis asked that question. Right now, Quinn Ewers ain't even the conversation with Tua. Tua has this offense mastered. Tua is the far superior quarterback right now. Tua is the far superior quarterback. It's not even a question. At this point, they need to let all cornerbacks relax and not practice. Yeah, it seems like every day someone's going down, right, from the defensive backfield. McDaniel said Zach Wilson is number 2 cornerback. It doesn't matter if Quinn Ewers outperforms Zach Wilson. That's the thing about the NFL in the business side of it. Zach Wilson got that guaranteed money. There's no way that Quinn Ewers starts the season as the main backup. It's going to be Zach Wilson. Tua's about to give his presser. Frozen said, Ewers looks good, but he's also playing against third-team defense. That's true, Bonnie. Johnny Bravo, get an opportunity to Cam. Let's see what we have. I'm telling you, it's a waste of time. I hope and pray it's not, but I'm guaranteeing Pete's going to be sending me $100. Pete's Steak is going to be sending me $100. I'm telling you, there's a chance that Cam Smith doesn't make this football team. Trade one of our linebackers or pass rushers for Deron Bland. They're outmost stocked positions. See, I don't want to take away from one position to give to another. I don't. The bet with Pete's take is that he says that Cam Smith will start more games than he won't this year for the Dolphins. What's funny, Lewis? I think if Cam Smith doesn't come out and win a starting job, or at least look very good, I think they might cut. They're so frustrated with Cam Smith. You think yours can hold to his jockstrap? Are you serious, Lewis? I mean, obviously they're in the same league. Yeah, they're NFL players. Obviously, Lewis. But bro, you think that Quinn Ewers can compete with Tua Tagovailoa? You think Quinn Ewers can compete with Tua Tagovailoa? That's wild, bro. That's wild. That's wild. And you might be right about the fragile part, but as far as skill, now we're talking about two different things, Lewis. We're talking about two different things. Lewis. You're talking about Tua's long-term health. Shoot, even his short-term health. But as far as playing the quarterback position, they're not even on the same planet, man. And Lewis, I get it. 5 years, time's up. Blase, you know what I mean? But all those Drew Brees comparisons, Drew Brees didn't do nothing until year 8, right? Something like that. And don't put the whole team on Tua Tagovailoa. This whole team has let us down in crucial moments. I Am Him says, go watch yours versus Georgia and TOSU last year. He was awful, and reason Texas lost, he was trash in big games. Listen, I made a video about Quinn Ewers, about him possibly being the future quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, because I'm highly impressed with how quickly he's improving. When he came into mini camp, rookie camp, he was horrible. And for him to have been one of the best players in training camp a couple days this summer, that's a huge improvement. So I'm excited about him improving and what the future could hold for him. But at this moment right now, Tua gets 15 years with no playoff wins. No, I don't think that. But you got to have a quarterback. You got to have a quarterback better than Tua to replace Tua with. And Chris Rohn, I don't believe that neither. Some of it is on Tua. Tua's part of the problem. Having some games the defense played good enough to win, and the Dolphins and Tua stunk it up. Absolutely. In certain games, has Tua played good enough to win? The defense stunk it up. Absolutely. Again, in these games against these big games that we can't win, Tua can't win, there's a lot of reasons we lose these games. Drop passes. And they're stupid. They're stupid mistakes. Mistakes that, can be fixed. That we could beat Philadelphia, that we could beat Kansas City, that we could beat Buffalo. Like, how many drop passes did we have against Philadelphia? Easy passes dropped, touchdown passes dropped against Philadelphia 2 years ago. That Kansas City game, Tyreek fumbling the ball and letting it get returned for a touchdown. Buffalo, we're giving up special teams touchdowns or roughing the wide receiver, putting them in line for a 60-yard field goal when the Buffalo Bills should have been punting the ball to us. I think Chris Grier should have been fired. This team should be in way better shape. With all the draft capital that Chris Grier has had to work with, after that Laramie Tunsil trade and he got that haul from Houston, after he didn't turn that into productive players, this team should be way ahead of where they are. So, yes, I think Chris Grier should have already been fired. And I'm not saying I'm not hailing Ewers as our future. I'm just saying it's nice that he is improving so quickly. I'm not saying he's the future. Listen. Obviously, we got to have content material. You know what I mean? And the fact that Quinn Ewers is a highly talented quarterback coming out of high school. He played at a big college. He was supposed to be one of the top names in the draft. Yeah, he ended up being a 7th round pick, but he was supposed to be one of the top players in the draft. And the fact that he's improving so quickly this first offseason as a rookie is impressive to me. Good morning, JD the Great. How can the defense stink it up if they hold for at least league average? Why can't we expect the offense to do above average, but expect our defense to be top 10 every time? I'm just saying in individual games, they don't put it together at the same time. And I'm pretty sure our offense has been, for the most part, in the Mike McDaniel era, has been ranked higher than our defense. Herbert has no playoff wins and is choked in 2 playoff games. Are the Chargers looking to move on from him? Lots of quarterbacks have no playoff wins. Kyler Murray, Geno Smith. Grier has had a great offseason, in my opinion. He has. This if he would have been building the team like this all along, this team would be in a completely different place. If Chris Grier had been drafting in the trenches, football enthusiasts, dog type players, if he had been going about his business like this team would look completely different. This team would be built like the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of fans want Zach Wilson to save us from Mr. Fragile. That's them fans that I just can't get on board with it. I don't believe they know. They just are so blinded by their hate by Tua that they'll put the ball in anybody's hands. Zach Wilson's not better than Tua. He's not. He's not. Does he have more talent in his right arm than Tua does his left? Yeah, probably. Probably. But he doesn't have it upstairs. Zach Wilson can make all the throws. All of them. But as far as anticipating, throwing with anticipation, reading defenses, putting the ball where it needs to go, I don't even think it's a conversation. What has Zach Wilson done that makes you think he can compete with Tua? They're talking about Quinn Ewers bypassing Zach Wilson. There's no talk about anybody bypassing Tua Tagovailoa. Tua's had a decent O-line in only a few games in his entire career. Think about 2023. They were the number one offense with the top 4 snap takers on the O-line were backups. Yeah, Chris, that was the real downfall of the 2023 season is our offensive line. When we had our starters in, we were the number one offense in all of football. But 4 out of 5 starters that year missed 7 games, I think. 7 games or more. And then all our pass rushers were hurt. 2023 was man. It was such a promising year that just went down the drain so quickly. Arthur Hill, good morning, brother. People were saying the same shit about Skyler, too. Never me. And you're right, they were. And look how right they were. Skylar Thompson come in, couldn't score 10 points a game. What, 12 points a game? Is that what they were averaging when Tua was out last year? Difference is yours is 6'4" and solid build who, when healthy, had wheels. We got a Josh Allen prototype who can operate the same system as Tua and same skill set, too. Is Quinn Ewers that big? Is Quinn Ewers 6'4"? Bills have been running the division since Tua got in the league. Not having home games for the playoffs really plays in the lack of playoff success. This all changes with a home playoff game, in my opinion. Joe, if we get a home playoff game, I believe we'll win that game. No defense is going to be perfect every game. Neither is Tua. Tua ain't going to be perfect every game neither. ...2023 offense was 100% because of Tua. See, I think the 2023 defense offense was because we were able to run the ball successfully. And yes, that opened up things for Tua Tagovailoa. Tua had a very good year, but the fact that we were able to run the ball, that's what opened everything up. And I think if we're able to run the ball this year, we're going to see more of that 2023 offense. Joe Riss said he's not 6'4", that's cap. Josh Allen built. Yeah, I don't think he's Josh Allen built. This is Greer's greatest offseason. I would say so. I would say so. Ewers to me looks like a Josh Allen and Tua love child. Everyone loves the backup or third string quarterback until they see them play. Yeah, that's not a lie, brother. That's not a lie. Defense was ranked higher last year. But to be fair, you got to add in them games that Tua missed. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's part of Tua's story. So it's fair to count those games. Like I made the argument last night about, the Dolphins offense, I go into the season hoping that Tua can stay healthy. That's how I go upon my predictions. Because God only knows how many games he's going to miss or when he's going to go down or if, you know what I mean? All I know is there's a good chance that he's going to go down. So I base my predictions on him staying healthy. I'm a Dolphins fan after all. I'm going to have some belief in my team. Even if it's a false belief, I'm going to have some belief in my team that Tua is going to remain healthy. Right? So I said, when Tua's healthy, we're scoring 24 points a game. But in reality, we average much lower than that as a team overall because Tua missed 6 games. And you gotta add those in because those games count. Those games do count. So yeah, the defense was ranked higher last year. A big reason why is because Tua missed 6 games. Now I don't know where the Dolphins offense finished last year, but if you take away those 6 games and put 6 games of Tua playing in, trust me, the Dolphins would have been ranked much higher. So you have to be blinded or hateful if you don't believe in your quarterback. That's wild. I'm not. Did I say that? Please don't put words into my mouth. I'm hated because I do believe in my quarterback. People say I'm delusional, I'm stupid, this and that and the third because I believe I'm going to hope that my quarterback stays healthy. I don't think you're blindful or hateful because you don't believe in the quarterback. You have every right to not believe in whoever you want to not believe in. And I understand that you don't believe in him because he has played poorly in certain games. He does miss a bunch of time due to injury. So I understand why the fans don't believe in Tua Tagovailoa. I get it. Talking about Ewers when healthy should be a massive red flag for anyone watching the last few years. That's true. A fan can want to see someone else under center, but you got to have someone better under center to put under center. I mean, if there's someone better than Tua Tagovailoa, let's go. I'm ready for it. Let's do it. I'm ready for it. Let's do it. If we can get someone better than Tua, I'm all for it. But where's he at? Not liking a quarterback or any player doesn't mean you hate them. It means you don't like their play. Okay. There's people that hate Tua. That no matter what he does, it's bad. It's just Tua's fault. That is definitely hate. If you're calling it legit, like, yeah, Tua does cause some of the issues. Yep, he's part of some of the problem, but it's not all just Tua. Allen is significantly bigger than Ewers. Yeah, I mean, he looks way bigger. JD to grade, the season is here, and we will now see how things unfold. Yeah, yep. Again, I think that the Dolphins definitely need to add more cornerback depth at least. I think we need to add a starter with a Cater out because I believe that was the Dolphins' plan is to have Cater play boundary. Three inches ain't much, but I can see how it can be to others left out loud. The whole conversation is about 3 inches. Ewers is barely bigger than Tua. If everything don't go right for him, he doesn't know what to do. Yeah, I mean, you can listen. People can say different things. Again, if Tua Tagovailoa definitely needs a good offensive line. A good offensive line, and I think I think that a good offensive line allows the offense to run the football good, right? So I mean, I think that does wonders for Tua. And hopefully this offensive line is going to be improved with what we're hearing about Patrick Paul, Jonah Savinaya is getting good feedback. I think James Daniels is going to be fine. Austin Jackson, people are worried about Austin Jackson. But hopefully he can play his decent level that he plays. He doesn't play great. He doesn't play bad. He just, you know what I mean? And I think if those guys and you get Aaron Brewer back healthy, I think this offensive line can be decent. The fact that yesterday was the first day of pads and the defensive line, who I think can be dominant, didn't just straight dominate the offensive line is a positive. Dolphins were a Super Bowl contender in 2023. The O-line broke the all-time NFL injury record. They were great to win 14 games. Never saw a quarterback do that. Listen, the Miami Dolphins 2023, we had 11 wins and lost 4 of the last 5 games or something stupid like that. We were on pace for the number 1 seed in the conference until Baltimore blew our doors off, and it was just downhill after that. Our quarterback room, all our quarterbacks almost the same sizes. Bills win versus Miami last game the season, won 21-14 by the Bills, was by a 94-yard punt return touchdown in the 4th, not Josh Allen. Yeah, and not Tua Tagovailoa neither. You know what I mean? Last year's Bills win was Jordan Poyer taking Coleman's head off and putting them in field goal range on a 3rd and long. It was 3rd and long. Cam Smith in coverage, by the way. Miller, that's an example of blind hate, in my opinion. You don't even know what you're talking about, but calling Tua small. Tua hasn't him in the top 100 list as a joke when he's possibly the 15th best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, that's your opinion, brother. That's your opinion. Ewers needs to sit and learn, and he could be a decent quarterback. We'll see. I agree. We'll see. I'm just happy that he's showing such improvement his first year. You know what I mean? That he's obviously processing things, learning things, taking things seriously, and trying to be better immediately. Tua is 6 foot. Look at them next to each other on the field. Just have hope for the best. Tua in the top 100 is a joke. That's why I don't pay attention to the top 100. How you're going to have a quarterback that's mid in the top 100. I mean, quarterbacks are more valuable than other positions. Fun fact, Joe Riss is 6'1", 215 pounds, 10 pounds down. Good job there, Joe. Philly, the whole thing is cooked. They wanted a lot of quarterbacks in there. Tua stays healthy, we make the playoffs. I agree, Michael Lombardo. He gets way too much credit for all the talent he has around him on offense and don't always put up crazy numbers. Sounds like another quarterback I know, Mr. Philly man. I think the Dolphins have a shot at winning the Super Bowl this year. That defense is better than last year, and the O line is too. I bet about $100 on Miami Pop bets. If this team, I win 10K. It's not a bad bet. It's not a bad bet. I don't know if the Dolphins are Super Bowl contenders, especially with the way this cornerback room is right now and the lack of depth on the offensive line. But I mean, if they can add some pieces and if Tua can stay healthy, yeah, you never know. You never know. I do think Baltimore is my favorite to come out this year. I'm going to say it's probably Baltimore and Philly or Baltimore and Washington. But we'll do those picks later on as the season gets closer. Jose says not Cater. Yeah, unfortunately, brother. Unfortunately. Two is actually 6'1" and 216, same size as yours. People don't talk about him with all the weapons he have around him like Jalen have. I mean, Jalen has the better team around him 100%. Jalen Hurts has the top team in the NFL surrounding him. The most talent of any other quarterback in the whole NFL. Bonnie, that dude is allergic to facts. Leave my boy Miller alone. Tua get way too much credit for being a mid quarterback. I mean, you can keep saying the same statement over and over again, but I mean, obviously you think Tua's a mid quarterback and he gets too much talent. I mean, Tua has one of those faces you just want to punch. Raphael, calm down there, brother. You just want to punch Tua's face off? Yeah, such a good person, too. I wonder why the hate is so passionate. Sports night with George. We're going to be fine, brother. We understand as fans we want to win, but I feel this team is much better. Media has been very negative. Tossed towards the Dolphins lately. Let it play out, Dolphins. Yeah, I mean, but again, I try to be a positive fan, but a realistic fan at the same time. This cornerback room's not good enough right now, and the depth on our offensive line is not okay. People who do not like Tua as quarterback overall are haters. It's clear. I'm not. Listen, if you don't like Tua, I don't think you're necessarily a hater. If you blame all the Dolphins' problems on Tua, that's a different story. You don't gotta like Tua. That doesn't make you a hater. To say, hey, Tua's just not it for me. Tua's not. His arms ain't strong enough for me. He's not mobile enough for me. He can't stay healthy. He doesn't show up in big games. Cool. But when you make Tua solely the reason that we lose all the big games, when you make Tua the reason that we lose all the cold weather games, when you make Tua the reason that we don't make the playoffs or win playoff games, and just Tua, no, nothing else but Tua, you could be a hater. There could be a hater. Trade Tua for Kyler. Stop with that Kyler Murray trade stuff. Raphael cosigning. Philly says, I still remember that clown offensive lineman you had on your team back in the day that accused somebody of bullying him and he got kicked out of the league for making up story. Yeah, I'm Jonathan Martin. I can't believe I just read that. I would personally not want Kyler Murray over Tua. Kyler is not that good, in my opinion. Kyler Murray has missed more games than Tua since Tua came into the league. Tell me one quarterback in the NFL that is elite without a good offensive line. Tua and Burrow, end of list. Well, I don't think Tua's elite. I don't believe Tua to be elite. Matter of fact, I only think there's 4 quarterbacks in this league that are elite. 3 in a possible, like I'm playing spades. 3 in a pop. Because although Joe Burrow puts off gaudy numbers, I'm still not completely. Joe Burrow is definitely, in my opinion, the 4th best quarterback. But I'm not sure he's on the same level as the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. And to be honest, Pat Mahomes has taken a little bit of a slight step back. Now Pat Mahomes has Super Bowl victories, and he's been a key contributor to those. So I'm going to still keep him as the best quarterback. But Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have definitely closed the gap, in my opinion. What up, Aquavision? What up? What up? Yeah, I hate excuses, but I mean, if it's valid, then what? I mean, if you're just making an excuse to make an excuse, cool. But if you're telling a fact about a situation, I mean, it's a fact. It's still a fact. I hate how the Dolphins fans don't want Tua to try pointing at anything to say it's better. Do your research and find a real quarterback if you want anything. Jose says, I got Joe Burrow 1. I don't believe that. But that's your opinion. Burrow had Chase and Higgins last year, but went 8-9. He starts slow every year, which is why they missed the playoffs. He put up 10 points versus the Patriots and lost. Lewis, who are you replacing Tua with, though? Yeah, like you have the answer to what you want to do, but you have no game plan on how to do it. Now, in my opinion, if you want to move on from Tua, you should have traded Tyreek. You should have traded every valuable asset we have, except maybe Chop Robinson, Jonah Savi, Naya, Kenneth Grant, Devon Achan, and the rest of our rookies. Trade literally every other tradable asset we have. Win one game this year and have the number 1 pick in the draft. And then because Arch Manning might not be coming out, and I like Arch Manning to be the next quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, you trade that number 1 pick for 3 future number 1 picks. And that's the way I'd go about rebuilding this team if you truly aren't satisfied with Tua. Lewis would replace him with Ewers. Well, that'd be a huge mistake in my opinion. Who's injured? Cater Kohu out for the season, brother. Stainless J. And then you have a bunch of people behind them that good, like 10 quarterbacks, but not elite. Yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray hasn't been a healthy. He hasn't necessarily been healthy. He's not a quarterback that I would say he's an Iron Man. He's been healthy. Asante Samuel is still on the market, but nobody knows how his neck's doing, and I'm not a fan of bringing Asante Samuel in. Arch has done nothing at Texas, could not even be a seventh round. Listen, I think Arch has a great opportunity to be a player, a good player. I think, yeah. I mean, I think Arch would come to the Dolphins. What up, CB83? What up? What up? What up? If his name was Arch Smith, he'd be a nobody. I don't believe that. I am him. Wait, the guy runs 20 miles an hour, got a rocket for an arm. I think he's going to be phenomenal. Tua is mid and can't win a playoff game. Tua has elite accuracy. He has elite traits. He's not an elite player, but he has elite traits. And not to mention, below mid quarterbacks have won Super Bowls. Skyler led us closer to the second round than Tua. Did Skyler start more games that season and get the Dolphins to the playoffs? Because if Skyler started more games in 2022 than Tua, the Dolphins wouldn't have made the playoffs. Skyler wouldn't have got Tua to the playoffs, or the Dolphins to the playoffs. Tua lost to the Super Bowl champion. Skyler lost to a team that did not win the Super Bowl. CB83, what do the Dolphins do at cornerback now with Cater? I want to ask CB83. I believe they were moving Cater outside. Do you agree with those? Do you agree with that? I believe Mike Hilton was brought in to be the nickelback. They had every intention to move Cater to the outside. CB says, go get somebody. Do you believe that was the game plan, as though they have Cater play outside? Go get two guys. At this point, the way that they're going down, you might have to get three or four. Shoot. Seems like every day someone else is going down from the defensive back room. I agree. I am him. Tua lost to the eventual Super Bowl champions with his whole team hurt. With the whole team hurt. And Skylar Thompson lost to the Buffalo Bills, who did not win the Super Bowl. What time, CB? Jack Jones could be good if he can keep his act together and not get in trouble. I agree, Bonnie. Jack Jones is definitely a ball hawk. And when he gets his hands on the football, he takes it to the house. CB, I'd be up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, brother. 10 o'clock early for me. 10 o'clock early for me. All right, folks, I'm about to go have lunch with my mom. I haven't talked to her in about 2.5 years. I mean, I've had little conversations with her, but I haven't had a relationship with my mom in quite a while. So I'm going to have lunch with her. Hopefully, to mend some fences because life's too short. Big C, I love your show, but never in my life have I seen such ridiculous takes in the chat. Good Lord. Brother, I don't know what to say. Joe, I don't know what to say. I apologize about the takes in the chat. All right, CB, I'll do that. But yeah, I hope you continue to watch the show. You know what I mean? I hope you continue to watch the show and continue to support the product. I appreciate you though. Absolutely. So I'm going to try to make that happen. I appreciate you all. Hopefully I'll be on with CB later on tonight. I love y'all. I appreciate you all. And you know what it is. Fins up, baby. Peace.